My name is Luna. I am 30 years old, and I live in a quiet house where the walls hear more than people ever do. From the outside, my life looks calm, even comfortable. The paint is clean, the curtains are neat, and nothing seems broken. But inside, it often feels like I am holding my breath, waiting for something that never arrives. I live with my husband, Evan. We have been married for 11 years. 11 long years of shared meals, shared space, and growing silence. I am a housewife. I do not go to an office or earn a salary, but my days are never empty. I clean the floors until they shine, cook meals that grow cold, fold clothes that never feel warm, and wait. Waiting has become my main skill. We do not have children. I wanted them deeply. I imagined small shoes near the door, toys scattered across the floor, and laughter filling the rooms. Evan never said no directly. He always said, maybe later. Later stretched into months, then years. One day, I realized I had stopped asking, not because I stopped wanting, but because hoping had started to hurt too much. Over time, Evan changed. Or maybe he simply stopped pretending. He traveled more for work and returned less connected. When he came home, his eyes were dull, his responses short. It felt like he was visiting his own life instead of living it. At dinner, I tried to talk. How was your trip? I asked. Busy, he said, scrolling on his phone. The silence returned, heavy and familiar. When Evan was home, I felt alone. When he was gone, the loneliness became louder. The house echoed with quiet. Some days passed without anyone speaking my name. I began to wonder if I truly existed beyond these walls. The only person who spoke to me regularly was the milkman. His name was Jonah. Jonah came early every morning, just before sunrise. The street was empty, the air cool. He placed the milk bottles by the door and usually left quietly. Some mornings, I opened the door before he could leave. He always smiled like he was genuinely happy to see me. "Good morning, Luna," he said. "Good morning," I replied. At first, we spoke about small things, the weather, the early cold, the silence of the town. Slowly, those small talks grew longer. Jonah asked questions and waited for answers. Real answers. No one had done that in a long time. Some mornings, we sat on the front steps while the town slept. I found myself telling him things I never planned to share. How lonely I felt. How invisible I felt in my own marriage. Saying the words out loud made them feel real. "You shouldn't feel invisible," Jonah said softly. His words stayed with me long after he left. On days when Evan was away, I invited Jonah inside for tea. We sat at the kitchen table, sunlight falling between us. We talked about books, childhood memories, and the dreams we once had but never followed. Nothing inappropriate happened. Still, there was warmth, something honest and human, that I hadn't felt in years. Evan never noticed the change in me. Or maybe he didn't care enough to look. One afternoon, Evan returned from a trip earlier than expected. He dropped his bag near the door and spoke without greeting me. "My clothes are dirty," he said. "Wash them." I nodded and carried the laundry basket to the laundry room. As I sorted the clothes, one white shirt caught my attention. When I turned it over, my chest tightened. A red stain on the collar. Lipstick. It wasn't mine. I stood there frozen, holding the shirt as my heart pounded. From the other room, I heard Evan laughing on the phone. That sound hurt more than the stain itself. That night, I lay awake beside him. He turned his back to me, his breathing calm and distant. The space between us felt endless, like a gap that could never be crossed again. A few days later, Evan left for another work trip. He didn't tell me where he was going. I didn't ask. Then one evening, my phone rang. An unfamiliar number appeared on the screen. The voice on the other end was calm, professional, and careful. There had been an accident on the highway. Evan was involved. There was another woman in the car. Neither survived. Grief did not arrive the way I expected. There was shock, confusion, and a strange emptiness. My body reacted before my heart did. I felt weak, nauseous. Food made me sick. Even the smell of milk turned my stomach. Jonah noticed. He brought soup, fruit, and quiet company. He never rushed me to talk or asked uncomfortable questions. He simply stayed, filling the silence with presence instead of words. "You should see a doctor," he said gently. One morning, my vision blurred while standing in the kitchen. I nearly collapsed. That fear pushed me to go. I went to the doctor alone. After the examination, the doctor sat across from me, his voice calm. "You're pregnant," he said. The words didn't make sense at first. I asked him to repeat them. "You are expecting." I walked home slowly. The streets felt unfamiliar, like I was seeing them for the first time. I sat on the couch, hands resting on my stomach, and cried. I cried because I had wanted this for years. I cried because Evan never gave it to me when he was alive. I cried because he betrayed me. And I cried because he was gone. Maybe, in his broken way, he left me this one thing. Not as an apology, but as a reminder that life does not always follow fairness. The doorbell rang. Jonah stood outside. One look at my face told him everything. He stepped inside quietly. "I'm pregnant," I whispered. "It's Evan's." Jonah was silent for a long moment. Then he spoke, gently and honestly. "I want to be here," he said. "For you. For the baby." I stepped back, shaking my head. "No," I said softly. "We can't." I explained that I didn't want to replace Evan, despite everything. I didn't want my child to grow up feeling like someone had taken his place. Jonah listened without interrupting. "I'll stay as a friend," he said. "That's enough." And he meant it. From that day on, Jonah supported me without crossing a line. He walked with me to appointments. He helped when my body felt heavy. He listened when memories hurt and stayed quiet when words failed. One morning, I stood by the window, sunlight warming my face, my hand resting on my growing stomach. For the first time in years, I didn't feel invisible. I understood something then. Trust can break. Love can fail. People can leave. But even after loss, life finds a way to begin again, quietly, bravely, and on its own terms.